Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love college football as much as I do. You know, it's a shame I've talked about how I'm an Auburn fan. Not a shame, because now that I am starting to pull for Auburn, it would be the best time to do it because they haven't been winning lately. They've been struggling. You know, when I made that decision for my SEC team, I really wanted to pull for South Carolina, but now that they're doing great, it looks like I'm just riding them because they're winning now. You know, but this is about South Carolina. You know, I said on here that they can go 10-2. It's crazy that I said that, but it's not. You know, Shane Beamer is doing such a fabulous job. There's some really cool South Carolina fans, you know, that always watch my stuff. So this video is mostly for y'all, but it's for college football fans in general, man. These guys have done a good job. What I like about Shane Beamer the most are two things: his special teams coaching, like when he's faking a field goal or faking a punt, he gets a big gain and gets a first down. It rarely doesn't work for him. You know, he was a special teams coach at Georgia for a little while when Kirby Smart in his first year. I remember that. And another thing I like about him is he finds ways to win games he shouldn't be winning. Let's look at that, by the way. In 2019, he went 7-6. And you look at that schedule, he hadn't been a head coach before. He didn't even have really a high-quality starting quarterback like he does now with, or who has the potential. I don't want to say he's not high quality, but he throws a lot of picks. Shout out to Spencer Rattler. He don't play for Oklahoma anymore, so as far as being a fan of him, I can do that now. So now we're cool. In 2019, he beat teams like Florida and Auburn. Now I know both of those teams finished 6-7, but on paper before the season started, if I was a South Carolina guy, I wouldn't have picked them to beat either one. They found ways to win both those games, so they shouldn't have won those games, but they did. On paper, they shouldn't have won. But you know what I mean. College football is always messed up. The Mayo Bowl, they beat North Carolina with Sam Howell there, who at one point was a Heisman Trophy favorite. And that was Shane Beamer's first bowl game. It was South Carolina's first winning season in a long time, I think since 2018. So fast forward to 2021, that's 2-3 years. That's still a good while. And a bowl game, you know, that's pretty cool. This past year, I think South Carolina took a big step forward with Spencer Rattler and recruiting and getting good players. They still weren't a great team this past year, but pretty good, a respectable team. I mean, if you're not an elite team, if you're a really good or a pretty good football team like Notre Dame, you're going to struggle with South Carolina. That says a lot about South Carolina, who lost to Notre Dame, but still, I mean, outside of that, finishing 8-4, 8-5 overall, they managed to beat Kentucky. Now, I know Kentucky they didn't turn out to be special, great. They had problems on their offensive line. They weren't really great. But they're a formidable opponent for anybody physically. Why? They're always a physical team, you know. They were ranked when South Carolina got a hold of them. It was in Kentucky, I think. So that was pretty cool. I remember when they beat Tennessee. I made money in that game, actually. You know, I just had a feeling that, you know, nobody's picking them to win. Spencer Rattler had a lot of he made some plays at Oklahoma. He finished his freshman campaign with a big winning streak, and then it all went downhill when Caleb Williams took over. But, I mean, he still at some point hit a stride. So what if he hits that with Tennessee, who has no secondary? You know what I mean? And then they beat Clemson. I think the Clemson win was turning the page for them, because Clemson's a pretty good football team. They beat a top 10 Clemson team, knocked them out the playoffs pictures for good, actually. So I think that win really, those wins, the culture there, the fact that Shane Beamer is slowly building something, it reminds me of what Mike Norvell's doing at Florida State. I think he might be doing better than Norvell right now, because Shane Beamer doesn't make any stupid play calls on 4th and 1 on his own side of the field or near midfield or anything like Norvell. And yeah, I'm a Seminole fan. I'm saying that about Mike Norvell because I can. This is my YouTube channel. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just talking about things I don't like from Norvell. But I really do think that here's the thing, like I said, this guy, Shane Beamer, has a knack for winning games he's not supposed to win. And really the only game he wasn't supposed to lose was to Florida this past year. So, yeah, I expect them to do some big things, you know. I mean, I'm not going to talk about their schedule again. I've already talked about it. But winning 10 games is probably their ceiling this year. Because, again, they're not exactly elite yet. But I think they're pretty darn good. I think they're a respectable team. They're going to earn more respect than what they already have this year. Winning 10 games is not an impossible feat for South Carolina. Making it to the Sugar Bowl is not impossible. I mean, look at around the whole SEC. You got Alabama who's struggling. You don't know for sure if they're going to be great. I think they will be, but you know. Even if you don't make it to a New Year's Six Bowl, winning 9-10 games for South Carolina is pretty darn cool, because historically they've been having problems But lately, they've been really doing good. And, I mean, I really love what he's doing. I love what Shane Beamer's doing. Hope he continues to do well. But I think South Carolina's in for a really good football season this year. I really do.